Hello people, my name is Aravind and our group number is 31. I'm going to talk about the main activity.java file. At first, we are writing a function to read the mobile's accelerometer x, y, z values and plotting all three axes in the graph view. Next, we are creating table name based on the patient's detail such as name, age, ID and sex. And also we are creating listeners for each field so that whenever there is any change in the patient details, it creates a new table. When we download a database from the server, this function takes the last table and populate the patient's details on the app as per their field. To upload and download from the server, we have created two image buttons which helps us to perform the upload and download functionality. Then we have another function to plot the last 10 seconds values of the table of the downloaded database.
Hi, I am Sarvesh and I will be explaining the DB creation module of the app. The first class is dbmodule.java file in which we define all DB and table creation scripts. For SQLite database creation, we are using android.database.sqlite class, which contains the SQLite database management classes such as SQLite database and SQLite open helper that exposes methods to manage a SQLite database, its creation and version management respectively in our app. Two main methods in this DB module are create hist table, which creates the history table named hist in DB to keep track of latest updated table, and other is create ACC data table, which creates table with given name to store acceleration data with timestamp. There is also execute method to execute custom SQL queries and insert row in table method to insert a new row in table. As said earlier, another class activity_helper.java makes use of methods in DB module class to manage DB and tables. First, we check the validity of memory path and create a directory at specified memory location to hold database file on SD card. A DB module constructor method is then called to create new database with specified DB name and location passed as an arguments. History table is created subsequently with create hist table as well. Then for each new patient data, we call create table method, which creates a new table in the DB using create ACC data table method and also adds new row in hist table for this new table such that last row of hist table always holds last updated patient's data table. Add entry method is then used every time to add accelerometer data entries to the particular table in database, which uses insert row in table in effect to add new row of red data.
Hi, I'm Nidhi and I will explain how we are uploading the database post-table creation. We are using async HTTP client method for which we have added the async library to the app build Gradle file and also we imported the header file up here. We are running this async task in the background and we are using a PHP file to retrieve data from the database server. We have set a timeout for 30 seconds in case we fail to establish the connection. Now we just create an async HTTP client to execute the request asynchronously and fire the onSuccess method when the response time returns a success code such as 200 and onFailure method if the response is failure code such as 401, 403, etc. We are also using SSL getInstance method which traverses the list of registered security providers and returns a SSL context object that implements the specified secure socket protocol.
Hi, I am Giriraj and I am going to speak about download DB module of the code. As the name suggests, it is used to download DB from the server. Here we'll use the async task class of the Android OS which allows us to perform the background operations and publish results on the UI thread without having to manipulate threads or handlers. Here we'll override three methods of this class: onPreExecute, doInBackground and onPostExecute. OnPreExecute is invoked on the UI thread before the task is executed, and in our case it is used to create download directory path. DoInBackground function is invoked next. The parameters of the asynchronous task are passed to this step. Here this is used to connect to the server and download the DB file. Connection to server is made using HTTP URL connection class and a get request set to the server URL with a connection timeout of 20 seconds. Now if the response is successful, read the file stream from the server response using the input stream class and write the file to the destination using the write method of the file output stream class and close the file. Finally, onPostExecute is invoked on the UI thread after the background computation finishes. Here we will get the last modified table from the downloaded DB by taking the last entry of the hist table. A check is made if the downloaded DB is empty, then return. Else, from the last edited table, get the last 10 entries and plot them on the graph using plot downloaded values method of the main class, and also call the populate patient details method to fill the patient details from the downloaded DB on